My son handed me a letter on my last day of chemotherapy, and I had to pull over 3 times on the drive home because I couldn't see the road. I didn't tell my kids how bad it was. Deliberate decision, made early, that I stand behind even now. They were 15 and 12, and there is a specific kind of fear that lives in a child who watches a parent disappear. I had watched it happen to a friend's kid, and I had decided mine would not carry that if I could help it. I told them I was sick, that I was getting treatment, that the doctors were handling it. I answered questions honestly, but without the weight behind them. I performed okay on the days I wasn't okay, and I got very good at it. What I didn't know was that my son was doing the same thing in reverse. The last day of chemo, my wife drove me home, and my son was waiting at the front door, which was unusual. Jake was 15, and 15-year-olds do not wait at front doors. He handed me an envelope and said he had been writing it for 6 months and walked back inside before I could say anything. I opened in the car, 8 pages, handwritten, both sides, the kind of writing that happens when someone has been composing something in their head for a long time and finally lets it out all at once. He wrote about the morning I told them I was sick, the specific look on my face that I thought I had controlled and apparently had not. He wrote about watching me leave for treatment every Thursday and counting the hours until I came back. He wrote about the night, 3 months in, when he heard me get sick through the bathroom wall and sat on his bedroom floor with his back against the door and stayed there until he heard me go back to bed. He had been sitting outside that bathroom door at 2 a.m., and I had never known. He wrote that he had not told me any of this because I was already carrying enough, and he was the kid, and it was his job to carry it quietly. 15 years old. Decided it was his job to carry it quietly. He wrote that he was not afraid I was going to die. He had told himself that story firmly and believed it through sheer will. What he was afraid of was that I would survive, and we would go back to normal. And normal would mean he never told me what those 6 months had actually been like for him. That we would both pretend it was fine the way we had both been pretending, and he would spend the rest of his life with those 6 months sitting unspoken between us. The last line of the letter said, "I don't want to be fine with you, Dad. I want to be honest with you." I pulled over 3 times on that drive home because I couldn't see the road. I went inside and found him in his room and sat on the floor with my back against his bed, the way he had sat against the bathroom door, and I told him the truth. The real numbers, the real fear, the nights I had been certain, and the nights I hadn't been. Everything I had performed okay over for 6 months, I gave to him honestly in that room. He sat next to me on the floor and listened, and didn't try to fix it. When I finished, he said, "Thank you for telling me." 15 years old, I am in remission, healthy, clear scans, the whole thing. But I think about that letter constantly, about a kid who decided at 15 that love meant carrying things quietly so the people he loved didn't have to. I learned it from somewhere. He learned it from me. We don't carry things quietly anymore, him and I. We just carry them together.